Welcome, everyone. This is the official Zoom party release for Volume 2 of Interfaith, the musical. I'm so happy that all of you have come tonight to help celebrate with me. This is a milestone in the journey of the musical to the stage. But a lot of people say, how did this great passion for interfaith engagement begin? And the first video I want to show you is called My Love Affair with Interfaith. So I had this wild idea in 1991 to create an interfaith Seder. And I ended up inviting 85 people. It was Passover, and although it's the Jewish holiday, many people have found that Passover is very magnetic. It brings people together because it's a celebration of liberation from oppression. And so everybody can identify with that. It doesn't matter how you call God or if you even believe in God. That is a human expression that we can all cherish. And after that happened, I was led to meet an extraordinary African-American minister, Dolores Gray, and she and I found that we had a lot in common. And after a series of conversations, something happened, something, I guess, revelatory happened, and we decided that we would create what may have been the first interfaith peace pilgrimage to the Holy Land. We wanted to bring, in particular, the Black and the Jewish community together because we had been such good friends during the civil rights movement. But also, since then, there had been a chasm developing. We wanted to repair that. But we invited many people. And the idea was that we would travel from Cairo through the Sinai Desert to Jerusalem. We would share our faith stories. And traveling together and dialoguing, we would have a chance to develop trust and understanding and fulfill our curiosity about one another. And in Jerusalem, we had, as a culminating event, we had the Universal Freedom Seder, in which all of the pilgrims participated, but also we invited people from all over the world to join us.
About 50 people, Israelis, Arabs, Indians, Sri Lankans, Ethiopians, Jews and Muslims, Christians and Hindus, participated in a universal Seder called a Festival of Freedom at Beit Shmuel in Jerusalem. The Seder was led by Rabbi Zalman Schachter Shlomi, leader of the Jewish spiritual renewal movement in the United States.
This is a Seder of the future, not a Seder of the past. We are using the template of the past in order to dream of the miracle of the future that's possible.
People of all faiths, races, and ethnic backgrounds sat together. The traditional Haggadah was revised. The Seder plate included an olive branch for hope, and the prayers included readings from the Quran and the Lord's Prayer. A prayer shawl decorated with the personal messages of peace by the participants provided background. The event was organized by a Jewish filmmaker and an African-American minister.
I got 3 prophecies from people that I did not know that said that I would be leading the most unique and unusual tours to Israel, and it would include African-American Jews, Muslims, and Catholics, and that's precisely what we're doing here tonight at Beit Shmuel.
The notion of it came from the traditional Passover Seder, but this is something totally new and different.
Memorial candles were lit in memory of the people of many nations who were killed, and the hope was expressed that peoples in all the troubled spots of the world, and Jews and Arabs, could begin a new chapter of peaceful coexistence.
The story of the Jewish people freedom is described in many occasions in the Holy Quran. And if there is anything we desperately need, it's for us, the children of Abraham, the cousins, to come back together.
The children of Abraham are about to become reconciled.
And we did it in 93, 94, 95. And then again, I organized one in the year 2000. And whenever we were together, Dolores and I, Christian and Jew, Black and white, people would look at us and they would say, well, this is really amazing, but who sponsored this? And she and I would look at each other and we'd turn back and we'd say, God. And then people would say, no, really. And then we'd look at each other and we'd turn back and we'd say, no, really, because it was God inspired. And I think anybody who works in the interfaith community will have to agree with me that whatever work we do is God inspired. So now you know how it all started, with 85 people at a Seder for Passover, and my realizing that there must be ways to bring people together out of the ordinary ways. As I grew and developed as an interfaith activist and leader, and I suddenly had this musical project before me, I was able to introduce it in a big way to the Parliament of the World's Religions in Toronto, Canada in 2018. Warm greetings to all of you. The evolution of Interfaith the Musical is a mystical, magical story that very clearly shows the hand of the divine. About 4 years ago, I was taking a walk when suddenly words and music tumbled out. I have no idea from where or why, because I'm a filmmaker and a writer, not a composer and a musician, but the words were very clear. And it was, what if, when you awoke, you were wearing a stranger's shoes? What if, when you awoke, you shared your enemy's extremist views? What if, when you awoke, you think in color, not black and white? What if, when you awoke, you could imagine not being right? And then the chorus, which is actually the reason why all this music was written, is, what if we all could see the beauty of one expanding humanity? And then 30 more songs came out. What if my children go astray? Spiritual but not religious. Why can't science and religion be friends? I'm a Buju. I'm Buddhist and I'm Jewish, I'm a Buju. And I was saying, why me? But I knew why. I figured it out, because after 30 songs, after 30 years of working as an interfaith activist and leader and understanding that this was the most important work being done in the world today, we need to go mainstream. And where is mainstream? In the musical theaters of our country. Because that's where unsuspecting people will go to hear a great story. And so I was determined, and that's why I was selected, because I have come to love and appreciate all the faiths working together with people of every community, including atheists and freethinkers of every community. And I know that this show needs to be on Broadway. To say, yes, we want to see who we are on the stage, who we are. So I'll just tell you why this song is being sung tonight. It's because of someone from Canada. He heard the song, What If When You Awoke? Neil McMillan, if you're here, you can raise your hand. And he said, Ruth, I love your song, but what about the Baha'is? I hadn't mentioned the Baha'is, I mentioned the Buddhists and the Christians and the Jews and Jehovah's Witnesses and the Muslims, and I hadn't mentioned the Baha'is. And I went home and I agonized and I thought, 4,270 religions, how am I going to get them all in? I wanted to be as inclusive as possible. So this song actually is the result of a Canadian interfaith activist, and it's called Let's Make Room at the Table.
What about the Rastafarians, Kamars, and Baha'i? Did I mention Unitarians? We're all part of the interfaith pie. What about global New Thought, the Shinto and the Druze? And don't forget the Zoroastrians. They've been here longer than the Jews. Let's make room at the table. We can always add one more plate. The entry fee is goodwill, even if you come late.
The day after, I had people coming up to me all day long, and the first thing they said to me is, let's make room at the table, because they remember the melody. And that was a perfect sign for me that people not only enjoyed the music, but that it was memorable, that people would remember that line. And what an important line. There is a unique relationship between a composer and arranger, because it's up to the arranger to get into the head of the composer to try to figure out exactly what the composer wanted when the song was written.
My name is Casey Dogurtis, and I'm the arranger.
And we had a very unusual way of working together, maybe not so unusual, but for us, I had never done anything like that before. What would happen is that on one of my famous walks, I would come back with a song. I would write down the lyrics immediately. I'd remember the melody. I'd call Casey and I'd say, I'm about to sing you a song. And he said, okay, and he would hang up. That was the code for him not to talk to me and not to wait until I would sing the song to him. I'd call back, I'd record the song on his answering machine, and then I would send him the lyrics. And he would take several days to think about it, to listen to it many times, and then he would start playing with it until he came to something which he thought approximated the feeling, the tone, and the goal of the song, because all the lyrics of the songs have very special meanings. And he would then send me his first draft, his first musical arrangement, and I would listen to it. And if it was exactly what I wanted, that was it. But most of the time we had to work back and forth until we got exactly to not only what I wanted, but always to something better, because of the enormous talent and genius of Casey Dogurtis. And here is Casey himself telling you about Volume 2.
So the second album it's just like a sequel. It's bigger, badder, more explosions, more excitement, more of everything. No, I'm just kidding. But it is sort of, because we've evolved in the creative process since we began, so I feel the musical better. I have created some very, I think, interesting things that I wouldn't have thought of when I was starting to work on this process. Ruth connected us with some great singers. I'm singing more songs myself. I'm taking on a whole bunch of different characters that have stretched my personality and my voice to new places. It's a very compelling collection of songs. Ruth wrote some very interesting and heart-wrenching and funny and dramatic, and I mean all of the emotional notes that you could ask for in a musical, they're all represented.
We have been waiting, anticipating. Will the one special one come today?
The first song that I'd like to share with you this evening is called We Are the Ones. That's actually an abbreviation for We Are the Ones We've Been Waiting For.
Not just you and me, but everyone, not just he and she, but everyone, not just they and them, but everyone together.
The first seeds that germinated from this idea came from about 30 years ago, when I went to attend a meeting in someone's home, and the keynote speaker that night was Barbara Marx Hubbard, who was considered the mother of the interspiritual movement. And there were so many of us that we were not only filled the living room, but we filled the hallway, and we were sitting on the stairs. And she looked at us and she said, you know, everybody here is waiting for someone, some special person, some divine essence, some savior to come and save us from our particular state that we're in right now. And some people are waiting for the Messiah so that there might be peace throughout the land. But I have news for you, she said. No one is coming.
Not just here and there, but everywhere, not just near and far, but everywhere, not just where we are, but everywhere together.
And there was a gasp in the room. I think she might have maybe even offended some of the people who were there. She said, the truth is, no one is coming because we are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the ones that are going to save this situation.
We are the ones we've been waiting for, all of us together, everyone, everywhere, all the time, everyone, everywhere, all the time, everyone, everywhere, all the time. We are the ones we've been waiting for, all of us together. We are the ones, we are the ones, we are the ones we've been waiting for.
If you're going around the bend and you reach the end, you're in need of a friend, then you come to the right place. Come to the right place. Oh, Jesus is here for you.
I experimented writing all different kinds of songs, but one of the things that I had never tried before was writing a gospel song. And it was another one of the songs that just kind of tumbled out. And I was surprised by it because the title was Jesus is Here for You. And I'm a Jewish woman, and that is not my frame of reference in my life of faith, in my religious life. And I was puzzled by it, but then I thought, well, after all, Irving Berlin, who a Jewish composer, he wrote the most beloved Christmas song of all times, White Christmas. So what is it? How is it possible to cross that border and to be able to compose a song not from your tradition, and yet have people listening to it feel that it is from your tradition? And maybe that tradition is the tradition of love and compassion, not any particular religion.
Baptize you first, God will quench your thirst, and the devil will be cursed. You come to the right place, oh, then you come to the right place. Oh, Jesus is here for you. I've had strokes, heart attacks, major heart attack, 2010. I almost passed. I've had 3 kids. They would have made it, but I wouldn't have if it wasn't for the good Lord. Jesus is here for you. Jesus is here for you. When they put me to sleep, I saw the light, and they thought I was gone then with my daughter still in me. And when I came to, it was a miracle because it was a black doctor who came in General Hospital. I had been there for 2 days in the lobby with my appendix about to erupt. And this black doctor walked in, and he was an Indian doctor with a big white natural white coat, and he just touched me and he says, "How long has this lady been laying here?" And they said, "For 2 days." And he said, "Get her ready for surgery right now." So when they got me ready, I saw the light and I heard the voice, and he let me know, "It's not time for you to come home yet. You still got work to do." Oh, they thought they had lost me. He's like, "We're so glad to have you back, Miss Bell." I was like, "I'm glad to be back." "Okay, where's the doctor?" The doctor with the big natural, and he's an Indian. And the doctor looked at me, he says, "I'm your doctor." And he was a Caucasian with glasses. I was like, "No, you're not. You're not my doctor. Where is the doctor with the big natural?" And it was like, I asked a nurse, I asked everybody that was around in General Hospital. And that was my angel again, to save me and bring me back. Jesus is here for you. Oh, yeah. This song means a lot to me because every time I went through anything in life, I always say, God, if you get me out of this, I'll do better. If you're not quite sure, but your motives are pure, and your soul needs a cure, then you come to the right place. Then you come to the right place.
Do you understand, though, that the person who wrote that song, right, is not Christian?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're not for real. They did good. Even if they're not Christian, they wrote it from the heart. For our iniquities he died, but rest assured he's still alive. When you open up your heart, Jesus will play his part.
Oh yes, he's here.
Jesus is here for you. Yeah, for you.
I want to share with you the story, the theme of the play. Our protagonist, Maya Gold, is an ardent interfaith activist, a Jewish leader who has committed her life to bringing people of all faiths together. She's been working fearlessly to create events to bring people together so that they can come to know one another and become friends. And yet suddenly, her own daughter announces that she's going to marry outside of the fold. And Maya is truly, truly devastated. And she confronts her daughter. And her daughter's response to her is this song, Love is Love.
Love is love. Love is love. Love knows no borders. Love won't take orders. Love is love. Love is love. Love's wild and untamed and cannot be contained.
I really loved the opportunity to sing this song in particular because when you take the name of the musical, of Interfaith, I think something that you and I really bonded over when we were discussing, when we were talking about the song and what it means, and when we were in the recording studio, was love is the way to get over differences. That when you start with love, that's the way to realize we're actually not that different. And if anything, we're much more similar than we think we are.
You are the daughter of a rabbi. What would your parents do if you came home and announced that you were marrying a non-Jew? How would they receive the news?
They don't care so much who I end up with in terms of whether or not he's Jewish, but more so, does he share the same values that I do? And does he understand the importance of raising Jewish children, because it's a part of my tradition, my heritage, and my culture, and that is important for any child.
So very often in a situation of pending intermarriage, people will consult their clergy, their rabbi, their priest, their reverend, their pastor, seeking help in how to navigate the world of interfaith marriage. And as you will hear from this song, one of the most popular songs of Volume 2, Ask the Rebbe, does the Rebbe have an answer?
Ask the Rebbe, ask the Rebbe, ask the Rebbe, he will know. But the Rebbe isn't certain. First I con, then I pro. Ask the Rebbe, ask the Rebbe, ask the Rebbe, he will know. But this Rebbe needs a Rebbe to advise him how to go.
I would like to share with the audience that you were actually in the very first production of Jesus Christ Superstar on Broadway.
On Broadway, yeah, that's right. When I was a young hippie, now I'm an old hippie.
And would you, because you know about the story and you know about the the design behind the story of why I'm so eager to bring this to the stage. So I know you appreciate it in a special way as someone who has done a lot of interfaith engagement and yourself.
Yes.
So perhaps you could talk about that for a moment.
Well, I mean, the way to bring about understanding is through the arts, especially if people sing together of different faiths. It's very hard to dislike each other. You know, in Hebrew, the word for choir is makela, which means a community, right? And you extend that community by bringing music to people. The listeners are just as important as the performers, because you're not going to have a reason to perform unless there's an audience. And so when you bring people together in that way, you prepare the path for peace.
I want to thank you for what you bring to the production and also who you are, not just how you sing. I appreciate you very much. Thank you.
'Cause there are endless permutations and myriad explanations with likely implications for each interpretation, and unknown complications to perplexing situations and many variations for every disputation.
Every great theater production must have a love song. And so this is a love song between Tamar, the daughter of Maya, and Stargazer, an indigenous man who are madly in love and who know that their parents on both sides do not approve of the union. It is sung by Aaron Rye and Martinez Matutas. Heart to heart.
Stop it, stop.
You're my stargazer. You're my...
You see, I'm 7% Carol, honey. Can you just mute yourself? We hear the dog barking. Can you mute yourself for a moment?
I'm sorry.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
just a second. Yeah,
Just
I'm
mute.
sorry.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. Stop.
Okay.
You're my stargazer.
You're my Tamar.
You never waver.
You're my North Star.
You are my partner.
And you're my mate.
You are the best catch.
You're the perfect bait.
You're my Prince Charming.
The air I breathe.
I'm yours forever.
I'll never leave.
You're my beloved.
You're the morning dew. I wanna spend my life with you. Why do they try so hard to keep us far apart? Can't they see we're joined together, heart to heart? It's not impossible to cross the great divide when your love is waiting on the other side.
How can I bless her when my heart is breaking? How can I tell her it's perfectly okay? How can I bless her when my soul is aching as she nears her wedding day?
Blessings is sung by two people from the story. One is Maya, the mother of Tamar, who doesn't want her daughter to marry the Native American man, and Kaletaka, who is the father of Stargazer, who is equally adamant that his son not marry out of the tribe.
How can I bless him when he endangers our tradition, our way of life? He may become, like her, a stranger when he takes her for his wife. Blessings, we all need blessings. We all need blessings from the ones we love. Blessings, we all need blessings from those on earth and from the heavens above.
Is Susan Mackey Miller here by any chance?
Yes, I'm here, Ruth.
Oh,
I love how you keep your span, your reach to include so many people, and I think that's so beautiful. Just to the whole idea of interfaith, and my husband and I, we both are of the belief system that we're so connected. All of us are so connected.
what was going through your mind? The line which says we are valued and have worth.
Well, I'm a mother to 3 sons, and they light up when they know they have value. And I do the same thing. My boys put the most beautiful posts, like, for my birthday or Mother's Day or whatever it is. And I light up for that. They're giving me blessings in return.
Blessings, we all crave blessings. We need to feel that we are cherished and have worth.
I would say that most of the unhappy people in the world probably haven't been blessed enough.
Blessings, precious blessings, from the day we're born till our last day on
I fervently believe that we all need to hear blessings from the people we love. We all need to be told we are cherished and we have worth. And I think many people who are unhappy in the world today, it's not for lack of money, for lack of success in their profession, or even lack of success as a parent themselves, but that they did not receive blessings from their parents.
I just want to mention something that I think is very relevant right now. When Ruth came to New York, she visited my home, and we both went out on the terrace, and she put her 2 hands on my head, and she recited the priestly benediction in our tradition. It's the most sacred blessing that you could give to another human being. And I remember that moment was absolutely beautiful and sacred and filled with light. I really want to honor the light that you have and that you've brought all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Phil Schroeder is in the audience here. Phil, are you here?
I'm here. Hi.
Phil and I have been working on the libretto. We finished Act 1. We're working on Act 2. I want to give you a moment, Phil, to say a few things about what it's been like working on this project.
A lot of the work that we've done has been to unearth, everything that Ruth is talking about tonight. The matters of the soul, matters of religion and faith and interfaith, and also what drives characters, what drives people to the rational and sometimes irrational ways they feel and things they do, which is what drama is.
Phil constantly has been reminding me that the stage is about conflict. Every scene has to have some conflict in it, and every scene has to move the action toward the next scene.
We've had a really wonderful time, I think, exploring drama together from our 2 different backgrounds, and I think coming into a story that at times feels like it just writes itself.
The process of collaboration is tender and beautiful and fascinating and challenging, because there are times when we come to certain dialogue and Phil says, no, I think they would say it this way. And I say, well, I don't think that. And we go back and forth until we always find something that works. But that little friction is very helpful in the creative process.
I think the thing that really bubbles to the top when working with Ruth, as any of you who know her will understand, is there's a great deal of authenticity in her work and what she wants and what will work for her in the end. I think is if the characters feel like the characters that she has in her mind, if they reflect the real values.
I salute you, Phil.
It's a pleasure.
So many people have been asking me all the time. They love the music and the lyrics. They say, when are we going to see it on the stage? When is it going to Broadway? And so if you want to know how you can help, you can donate directly to Interfaith, the musical, and that will bring the project that much closer to the stage. And thank you in advance. And I want to thank everybody who until now has shown so much support and shared the music with their friends and bought albums and sent testimonials. All of it is greatly appreciated.
What if when we awoke we could practice empathy? What if when we awoke we could embrace diversity? What if we could see ourselves as the lilies of the field? What if when we awoke we were ready to be healed?
And now I'd like to play the very last song for you. This is who we are.
This is who we are and who we're meant to be. Just take a look at us. What a grand humanity. We have made mistakes, imperfect as we are, but we have what it takes. Oh my, we've come so far, made from dust of stars, showered by cosmic love. We stumble and we fall, but we're guided from above. We're here to heal our wounds and treat the earth with care. This is who we are. This is who we are. This is who we are. And we are everywhere.
Thank you, everyone. So I'd love to hear some feedback from you before I show the second. The second one is much shorter, and it actually is from the read-through. I'll just explain to you. Well, I'll wait. Let's have some feedback, and then I'll explain to you what the circumstances and the venue of the next short video I'm going to show you. So if anybody would like to speak, please raise your hand. Jacqueline.
I'm going to be 83 years old soon, but during your presentation, I thought I was 20, 18,
Ooh.
19. Thank you.
If I could only bottle that and sell it, I could pay for the whole musical. Abigail.
Yes. Oh, Ruth. You know, I have both of your albums, but I just love seeing it on the screen and seeing the people sing. it's going to make it. It has to, because it touches everybody's heart. We can see ourselves in at least every song that's there, bringing back memories, ideas, new thoughts, it's just fabulous. So, yeah, I'm just so happy that you're on your way. I think it's just amazing, just amazing.
Barbara, did you want to say something?
Oh, I do. It's just wonderful. And I think it's the right time for it. It'll be there at the right time.
Something funny happened with my arranger. We released the first album in 2015, just in time for the Parliament event in Salt Lake City, right? Because I knew it had to be done by then. And it was a great hit at the Parliament. In fact, one of my supporters and investors, when she heard the music, she ran down the aisle with her checkbook saying, I'm going to invest $1,000 in this, and I've never done that before in my life. I believe in this so much. So I had great response, even from the technicians who played the songs for me from the CDs. They came up to me, they remembered the music. So that was really exciting. But a year later, okay? One day, Casey, the arranger, called me and he said, now, 2016, so the world was changing, right? He said, I didn't really get what you were doing when we were working together. I loved working with you, I love the music, but I didn't really get what it was about. He said, now I do. And so, timing is everything. And when I was working on it at the beginning, there was a large interfaith community, but in terms of reaching mainstream, if the musical had been ready in 2016, I don't think it would have worked, really. So now, of course, the push is to get it finished and get it ready so that first regional theaters can, they can try to put it on and so forth. It's a whole process. I'm learning this. It's one of the most complicated undertakings of my life, because I didn't come from this field. I was a filmmaker and a writer and a journalist and interfaith activist, but nothing prepared me for what I was about to learn. And it was scary. I have to admit that. And I've done a lot of daring things in my lifetime, but I wasn't reinventing myself, but I was trying to enter a field which I didn't have any knowledge or understanding. I knew I loved theater and I always went to musicals and theater, but I didn't know what it took. And when I first gave my script to the man you met in the film, Phil Schroeder, the dramaturg, his first comment to me was, and this was for a play, a musical theater play. He said to me, this would make a good documentary, Ruth. And because, like in film, you can have the luxury of showing a scene, the protagonist is in his car driving along the ocean in a convertible, there's the breeze, and you hear the soundtrack of music from some famous song, right, that they probably paid, $200,000 to buy the rights for. And you're listening to the music of the song, the lyrics, and you're thinking, how does this relate to the protagonist? What is he thinking about vis-a-vis what just happened in his life or what's about to happen, right? So you have like a 3-minute interlude with just music playing and nobody saying anything. Well, you can't do that on the stage. You can't. And then he would say to me about the protagonist, Ruth, you're not throwing enough shit at her. You've got to make it really, really bad for her. Don't over-identify with her. I know you think you're Maya. Stop thinking you're Maya and just let her have it. She's got to come down because the audience needs to see her arise again. And the audience needs to feel all the difficulty she's going to have as a result of the decision she makes. And then we need to see where does she come out at the end? And it's only when you've thrown enough shit at her that when she comes out at the end, that you're rooting for her. You need to root for her, but you can't root for her unless she goes through enough adversity. So I remember one day when we were working a lot during COVID on the phone and Zoom. One day I made a suggestion to him about something really terrible that was going to happen to her. And he said, "That's great." Now you understand what musical theater is about. So I appreciate Abigail and Barbara, I appreciate what you're saying, because we're still working in a vacuum on some level. We don't really know. I mean, I can tell when a song is good after I've written it, or whether it still needs work, but you don't know how it's going to land, and you really need fans, you need a community. And I have here Doris Davis, who's been an amazing friend to me and also supporter of this musical. She's been with me from the beginning, watching it develop. Carol Sousa King, also. Jan Robinson is a new friend and a supporter of the musical. Yolanda Nava heard it perform, 8 songs performed publicly in the Pico Union project in 2019, and she's here. And so that's part of my treasury. It's not the money that's donated. Part of my treasury are the people who have been supporting me and saying, "Go for it, you're almost there, you're almost there." So does anybody want to say anything else before I show you the next short film? The next film so just let me explain to you the stages of development. So what happens is, once you have the story and it's in a script form, you have to do what's called a read-through. A read-through means you get to hear it out loud for the first time. Actors take the parts, but there's no costumes, no choreography, no sets, and the actors remain in one place, and they have music stands where they have their script, and they literally just read it, and then you plug in certain songs that you've already written. And the idea behind that is, not only will you hear it, the person who wrote it will hear it for the first time and be able to say, "Oh no, that's definitely got to go," or "This is too long," or this something else is needed here. But the actors themselves have never seen it before. So it's a cold read, right? They haven't rehearsed. They didn't learn the songs. It's a cold read. And many people do that in someone's living room. They just invite a group of friends over and read it through, right? In this case, they were all actors. Some of them were friends of mine, but they were primarily actors. And I wanted to hear their response as well to it, because they will have a sense, coming to it fresh and cold, they will have a sense of whether it works, because they're actors and their job is to go to auditions and to do cold reads all the time, and they know if something is working or not working. So before I go into show you that short film, it's only 13 minutes of the actors reading with songs and some of the testimonials. I know what I wanted to share with you. What time is it? 7:02. Okay, we have time for me to share this. So I was telling Steve just before we started this session that I went to musical boot camp because I didn't know how to write a musical. I had all this music and I didn't know what to do with it. I was told, you have a musical. So how do you create a musical out of 30 songs, right? And so I looked up on the internet and I saw there was a musical boot camp, and I signed up. And my coach, Elise Dewsbury, said to me, Ruth, if I were you, I'd put aside your albums, put aside all your songs. And I already was getting nervous, right? Because I was there because of the music. Why did she tell me to put it? She said, put it all aside and write a fantastic story. And then you go back and take your songs and see whether they fit. There'll be some songs that are perfect. There'll be some songs that definitely you won't want to use. And then there'll be some songs that you'll need to write. Well, I literally went cold, and I looked at her and I said, how am I going to do that? Because all these songs had come through me, right? And so I thought there was someone, it wasn't the Wizard of Oz, but I thought there was some force, something on the other side that was helping channel these songs through me. And that's why they were written. Otherwise, I wouldn't have written them. I never sat down to write a musical, right? I didn't have an idea for the musical, even the story, I had nothing. And so I said, well, how will I do that? And she looked at me and she didn't quite understand my question because she knew I had, 2 albums. So I stopped working on the musical. I went into paralysis. And I thought, well, that's it. This is over. This was a grand adventure, it's over. And I really didn't know what to do either. I had I wouldn't call it dark night of the soul, but I had some sleepless nights in which I was thinking, they call it imposter syndrome or whatever, that this was all fake, it's not real. And I wasn't planning to go back to the class because I felt like I can't do this. I'm gonna have to write new songs, and how am I gonna do that? Oh. And so I was sitting with that. I was stewing in my own juices. And then one day I had a revelation, a real revelation. And I thought to myself, why can't I go to the same place where I got those songs from? There must be some eternal well of creativity that exists, which all people can access if they know that it exists. If they think it's only comes from time to time, or you need a muse, some Tinkerbell to sit on the edge of your pen and propel it to write a great song or to write a great novel. I don't believe that. I believe if God's a creator and we are co-creators and we have been created in God's image, the possibility to create exists for everyone, and there must be an opportunity for us to access that when we need it. And when I had that thought, and I don't know whether that was my own original thought or it was planted in my mind, I thought, that's it, I can do it. And so I gave myself an assignment to write a song, and I sat down and wrote a song in 15 minutes called The Song of Peace. And it's not in the musical, maybe it could be, but I didn't write it for that. I just wrote a song. And then I realized what a gift that was, that the revelation was as important at that time as working on the musical, because I knew that I could help other people, other artists, and just people in general who were struggling and who come to a dead end in their lives and they think that's all there is, when everything is out there, all the possibilities are there. And so after that, I went back, with full vigor and force, and I continued working on it. And then I found a dramaturg, and I struggled realizing that I felt very inadequate, but that I could learn. And that the first time he said to me, okay, until I see you next time, I want you to write the whole scene by yourself. And I wrote the scene, and I read it to him, sent it to him, and he said, this is terrific. You got it. And it was, that was really, pardon the pun, that was music to my ears because I didn't know I could do that. And I think that most of us don't know what we could really do. And so my understanding that was crucial to the progress of the musical. And so before I show you, I want to show you the second video, and we'll have a little time, but is there anything anybody wants to say or ask before I show you the next part? Okay, so I'm going to show it to you. This is the most divisive time in our history, or at least those of us in this period that were alive. And all the people who've been exposed to the music, and people I don't even know, people from other countries around the world write me and say, we need this musical now.
Come, oh come, meet me there. There's a field out there where east does meet with west. There's a field out there to welcome every guest. There's a field out there where we are at our best. Come, oh come, meet me there.
We are an organization that works with book writers, lyricists, and composers to help them as they're developing their new musicals. And there are many steps along that journey, one of which is to hear your work read out loud in front of an audience to get a sense of how it's working. And without further ado, I want to introduce you to the playwright, the book writer, lyricist, and composer of today's work, Interfaith, Ruth Brody-Sherode.
It takes a village to raise a musical. Everybody who's here, who has in any way been part of this process, whether you offered your home to have a party, whether you donated money, bought CDs, told people about the musical, anybody who's in any way been part of the village that raises a musical, please stand up.
Everyone, everywhere, all the time, we are the ones we've been waiting for.
I'd like first to acknowledge that we walk upon the traditional territories of the Uniqua Nation. It is here, of course, that we hope to build a place to host our expanding humanity under a single roof. A new interfaith center filled with light, love, and understanding. This is the fulfillment of a lifelong dream.
Just say thank you and praise Jesus. I mean, no offense, sir.
What is it you can't get from Judaism that you need all these other people?
We've all dug deep into our pockets to get us where we now own this land.
The land is ours. It was always ours.
And are we moving the tribe to downtown Los Angeles?
There shouldn't even be a Los Angeles. Big, filthy city only the white man could love.
You cannot count the stars in the sky and wish one wasn't there, son.
I knew you'd be here. Oh, great. Tamar's here too. I found him.
Who?
Tamar's perfect groom.
My perfect what? This is not the time for this.
Oh, his name is Shlomo.
Yeah, I already have a boyfriend.
She has a boyfriend?
Oh, yes. We were just talking about him.
He's a Native American boy.
He's indigenous. His name is Stargazer, and he's a man.
Of course it's going to work. Look, you come from a tribe. I come from a tribe. Your ancestors wandered the desert. Our ancestors wandered the desert. Your Moses spoke to God in the burning bush. We speak to the Spirit and fire all the time. So, what's the problem?
The problem is our parents and what they want. They think they know best.
There will be no interfaith wedding of Tamar and Stargazer in this center or anywhere.
As to marrying Tamar, I have asked the ancestors, and they agree with me.
Who are you to ask the ancestors? I will do ceremony with the fire, and I will tell you their decision.
They're both too young and haven't thought this through. And besides, Tamar hasn't finished school yet.
Why don't you tell them the truth, Mother? That I can't marry him because he's not Jewish.
I want your children and your children's children to know who we are and where we came from. The whole of our history is greater than one individual's personal happiness.
Not for me.
Why do they try so hard to keep us far apart? Can't they see we're joined together, heart to heart? It's not impossible to cross the great divide when your love is waiting on the other side.
I have filed a suit I want the land back.
You're suing the interfaith group?
Even the white man's greatest courts have sided with us in Oklahoma.
But taking them to court, this could ruin everything for me.
Our people need you, and you need a woman that knows our customs and our tongue.
But that's not what I want. We can't live apart from white people forever. And when I'm the head of this tribe...
I'm not dead yet.
What if my children go astray? What if they choose another way? What happens to our family tree? What happens to my legacy?
Reverend Jeremiah, I need your counsel. Do you have a minute?
This must be very serious, Maya, if you're calling me Reverend. Usually it's just Jerry.
Jerry, my daughter Tamar has fallen in love with Stargazer. You know him from the interfaith community.
A lovely young man, very devoted to protecting our world.
I don't want her to marry a non-Jew, but I feel so guilty saying that out loud. Everyone just expects me to take it in my interfaith stride.
Guilty? Well, you shouldn't have to feel guilty about wanting your daughter to marry within your own faith. Catholics feel just as strongly.
I didn't see this coming, Jerry. I always thought of myself as being open-minded, but now that it's my daughter...
There's complexities, and someone you can think of as a hero or villain. Who are they? Well, they're human. That's really what it is.
Stop! You're letting them win.
They've already won. First your father and now my mother.
They haven't won. We still have a chance to make the world we want.
I'm leaving now. Because I love you.
No. No, stay with me because you love me.
But what if what makes us happy doesn't make them happy?
There's a long pause, and then Maya embraces Noor.
I felt so bad about what happened at our meeting yesterday.
I talked to Swami afterwards. He said, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Don't get caught up in the conflict. Keep your eye on peace. So I'm letting it go.
Really? Oh, that's wonderful news.
One of the very powerful aspects of this musical for me is that it invites everyone to get interested, not locked into our own perspectives that we've had up until now, to get interested in learning and experiencing all the other ways to connect with what matters in life.
I love Star so much. My heart aches. But I don't want to hurt him.
I can see that.
But I love you too, Mother, and I don't want to hurt you either. But I can't live my life based on your needs.
For I have found God's face in a stranger that I met. We treat each other with honor and respect. He loves the whole earth and cares for all of life. And now that I met the man I love, I want to be his wife.
There's some parts that are genuinely moving, because these are real people where things are not always black and white.
I say, we have no religion. Then they ask, well, what are your sacred objects? Sacred objects, sacred objects. Everything is sacred.
Everything is sacred. That is what our fathers taught. Everything has meaning. Nothing is for naught. Everything is sacred. Mother Earth and Father Sky. Everything is sacred. How we live and how we die.
I was really inspired by the message of the story and of the piece, and it is something that is definitely needed in this time.
Just hearing all of the things about coming together and respecting one another's opinions and differences and how that's hard but can work. I think that that's a message that's really important.
Beautiful music. Yeah. That's the best way to carry a message.
Ruth, in an amazing way, creates a heart space, both in the music as well as the book, the words.
Something that I really loved was that I actually learned things from watching this play. For example, the idea of there being hybrids, like Buju.
I'm a Buju. I emulate the Buddha and his worldview. I like to meditate and then to argue. I agonize all day, a true Jew.
This play is the first time I heard of the concept, but I immediately related to it and realized, wow, it's so true.
We are hybrid. We're happy to be living on our own grid. On every city block, we are the new kid. I'm Buju.
I'm Jufi.
I'm Hindu through and through.
I'm a bit of a hybrid of I don't know how many different traditions, and I was like, oh wow, it's actually a thing. It's not just me.
I was the Christian that married the Buju, and my mother was so upset. But I could see from Maya in the play from a different viewpoint that my mother had.
Please, Mother, if you love me, can't you find it in your heart to give me your blessing?
I want to, but I just can't.
Blessings, we all crave blessings. We need to feel that we are cherished and have won. Blessings, precious blessings, from the day we're born till our last day on
This was an awesome day. The songs just light up your heart. They help you see what's going on through humanity and how we could all just live in peace.
It's quite extraordinary.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
I want to thank Elise especially for, she was my coach and my teacher when I came to New Musical Boot Camp, right? And I want to thank above all the Holy One, Master of time and space, the source of all life and creation. I couldn't have done this without the support of heaven.
Let's make room at the table. We can stretch it if need be until everyone is seated at the table of humanity. Let's make room until everyone is seated.
So my friends, we're just about coming to the end of the session. And it's been a lot of fun for me to share this with you. And I think you're all having a greater sense, those of you who go back years with me, a greater sense of what's happening and the whole path and trajectory and the stretching that has to go on. That we can, yeah. Does someone want to say something?
Well, I was just going to thank you, and from a different point. When I was organizing Interfaith Awareness Week, you came in at here and there and with ideas and suggestions that really helped me put it all together. So you're a blessing. And I think everybody here feels that way about you. As we're getting to the end of the session, let me just promote that we have 4 more days: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday is a special event that the what is it, the Temple of Understanding is doing. And that's just the only item on Thursday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon for an hour and a half. And it's a huge program that I think everybody's going to enjoy. Throughout the rest of this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we have women priests. We have a group from Nigeria. We have people from England. There are so many different programs going on. I invite you to become part of it. If you've got the free time, come to all of them. If you don't, okay, come to most of them. And I know you're going to enjoy it. And at the very end on Thursday, I'll be able to say to you, see you at the Parliament.
Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you for this opportunity. And what's wonderful is that all these programs are being archived. And when somebody comes from Mars 10 years from now and they want to know how did the interfaith movement get so big, we'll tell them to come and check your archive.
Well, you're still going to be here. I don't know about me, but yeah, 10 years from now. Okay. From Mars, did you say?
Well, or Andromeda.
Okay. So,
thank you, everybody. I wish you a good night. And if you want more information, you want to order albums or in any way be helpful, just go to interfaiththemusical.com. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Be well, everybody.
God bless you. God bless you. Thank you.
Thanks, Ruth. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wonderful.